Number 10, Lori Loughlin and Felicity Huffman. In 2019, several college coaches and officials became embroiled in the nationwide college admissions scandal, but what actually caused it to make headlines was the involvement of the two famous actresses. Lori Loughlin, the star of Full House, and her husband, Mossimo Giannulli, was said to have bribed college officials with $500,000 in exchange for having their two daughters appear to be on the USC crew team in order to get into the Ivy League school, despite the fact that their daughters Bella and Olivia Jade were completely unfamiliar with the sport. Following their initial fraud charges, the couple were hit with an additional money laundering and bribery charges. While they initially pled not guilty, the couple agreed to a plea deal in May of 2020. Felicity Huffman, on the other hand, made a so-called charitable contribution of $15,000, all to participate in the college entrance exam cheating scheme on behalf of her eldest daughter, Sophia Grace May. The Desperate Housewives actress and her husband, William H. Macy, then made arrangements to do the same for their younger daughter, but they later decided against it. After Huffman pled guilty to fraud charges, she was sentenced to 14 days in prison and publicly apologized for her role in the scandal, admitting that she paid to improve Sophia's SAT scores. She said, "I want to apologize to the students who work hard every day to get into college, and to their parents who make tremendous sacrifices to support their children and do so honestly." The scandal, which drew in Hollywood stars, hedge fund millionaires, and athletic coaches, exemplified the advantages afforded to wealthy applicants and fueled debates about fairness and equity in admissions. Number 9, Elizabeth Holmes. In 2014, Theranos was flying high. It was a blood testing startup with supposedly revolutionary technology that claimed to be able to perform hundreds of tests ranging from cholesterol levels to complex genetic analysis, just with a single pinprick of blood. It was said to revolutionize medicine and save lives the world over. Elizabeth Holmes was the founder and CEO of Theranos, and she'd famously dropped out of Stanford to found the company using her own tuition money. Soon enough, the company had become the rising star of Silicon Valley and was valued at over $9 billion, while Elizabeth was labeled as the female Steve Jobs. So what was the problem? Well, it was a pretty big one, considering that the technology didn't actually work. It was a secret that very few people knew, and one that Elizabeth went to great lengths to hide. But after receiving a tip-off, journalist John Carreyrou first broke the story in 2015. He started doubting the legitimacy of the technology after learning that she'd only taken 2 semesters of chemical engineering classes at Stanford. Sooner or later, it was revealed that Theranos was not using its own technology to run the majority of its tests due to its inefficiency. At first, Elizabeth adamantly denied the claims made against her, but when she could no longer contain the truth, she stepped down as CEO in 2018. 3 months later, the company officially shut down following an investigation by the FBI, and in January this year, she was found guilty on 4 charges of defrauding investors and sentenced to over 11 years in prison. Number 8, Jussie Smollett. The world was shocked in January of 2019 when news broke out that the actor became the victim of a hate crime while he was walking the streets of Chicago at around 2 a.m. The star of the hit TV series Empire claimed that he was the victim of a homophobic and racist attack and said that he was brutally attacked by 2 white men wearing ski masks. Jussie was full of emotion when he told his story on Good Morning America the following month, which was his first interview about the alleged attack. He became teary-eyed at one point, saying that he was forever changed and felt pissed off by both the incident itself and the skepticism swirling on social media. He explained that he did not hand over his cell phone to police because he had private pictures and videos and numbers on there. But that same month, more details would surface that poked holes in his story. And little more than 2 weeks after the alleged incident, Jussie was arrested and charged with filing a false police report. It was eventually revealed that he paid 2 brothers $3,500 to stage an attack in an effort to raise his show business profile. The actor was found guilty of lying to police, and as a result, he was sentenced to 30 months probation and 150 days in jail. He was also ordered to pay $120 in restitution, with an additional fine of $25,000. The incident led him to be written out of the final season of Empire, and he claims that he has not received any work in acting ever since. Number 7, Cole and Savannah LeBrant. The LeBrant family YouTube channel seemed to be perfect on the outside. Cole and Savannah amassed more than 13 million subscribers, as fans love to tune in to the daily vlogs from the seemingly wholesome blonde couple with a beautiful family. But the internet's collective outrage against them really seemed to boil down to 2 separate incidents. In 2018, the couple came under fire for allegedly faking an evacuation during the California wildfires. fires. They made a viral video called "A Giant Fire Makes Us Evacuate Our House," which garnered widespread sympathy from their fans. But only at first. When people did some real digging, they found out that their location was not listed as an evacuation area for the fires, and their neighbors even came out saying that the family's home was never in danger, and that the video was intentionally misleading, and they said that they were exploiting a serious situation for views. But that wasn't all. In 2021, the LeBrant family posted a video with a thumbnail of their 2-year-old daughter Posey in hospital, with the caption, "She got diagnosed with cancer." In the vlog, the couple said that they were worried that their daughter had leukemia because she would often wake up in the middle of the night with pain in her legs. But halfway through the vlog, they revealed that she did not in fact have cancer, but called the whole thing a health scare. The video was slammed for its clickbait title, and the family has not been able to rid themselves of the controversy ever since. Number 6, Bow Wow. In May of 2017, the rapper was caught in a humiliating lie when he posted a photo to Instagram claiming that he was boarding a private jet from Georgia to New York, all to promote his upcoming TV show Growing Up Hip Hop. But soon after, a photo began to circulate online that showed him on a commercial flight alongside fellow passengers. The caption read, "So this guy Lil Bow Wow is on my flight to New York." But on Instagram, he posted a picture of a private jet captioned, "Traveling to BY today, SMH." Fans also noticed that Bow Wow's original photo of the private jet appears to have been taken from a website for a Florida VIP transportation company. It seems as though the rapper desperately wanted fans to think that he lives a life of extravagance, as he rushed to deny the claims, alleging that the photo of him on the flight was an old picture and that the haters should stay out of the big boy lane. He then went on the Breakfast Club radio show and doubled down on the lie, insisting that he posted a picture of a private jet simply because he liked it, and said that he never claimed to be boarding that exact plane. Ironically, Bow Wow did not seem to learn from his mistakes when he posted a clip of himself on Twitter 1 year later, supposedly running from his fans after a show in North Carolina. He wrote, "30 years old and I'm still getting chased. This crap will never stop." But it later came out that he had actually paid some fans to chase after him just for the video. Number 5, Sam Bankman-Fried. The now disgraced crypto billionaire founded one of the biggest cryptocurrency exchanges in the world when he was only 25 years old. Thanks to its growing popularity, Sam quickly rose to the top of the industry and soon became a celebrated philanthropist worth around $16 billion. He was praised as a certified genius who could be on a Zoom call with investors and playing video games in another tab. But by mid-November, he found himself at the center of a colossal scandal that left his empire and his image in ruins. According to a report from the Wall Street Journal, he's said to have illegally taken about $10 billion of his customers' money to put into his trading firm called Alameda Research. On the surface, his company FTX appeared to be thriving, as in the past year, it made several high-profile acquisitions and bailed out other failing crypto companies. But in reality, it was actually drowning in debt, with billions of dollars missing in customers' funds. According to several news outlets, the DOJ and the SEC are now actively investigating FTX, and Sam's friends and associates have already distanced themselves from him in the wake of the scandal. It wasn't long before he resigned from the company, as it collapsed from a surge in customers all trying to withdraw their funds, but to no avail. Sam has since been jailed and has been extradited to the US, where he faces criminal charges. Number 4, Ashlee Simpson. In October of 2004, the singer stepped onto the legendary Saturday Night Live stage to perform. It should have been a major highlight in her career, but instead it marked the beginning of her downfall. While the band began to play the song, the vocals for the first track began to play and Ashlee paused in horror. It was the worst possible way to be caught lip-syncing. Clearly panicking, she looked around at the band, held the microphone by her side with the vocals still beating out unnervingly loud. After pulling off a series of improvised dance moves, she walks off the stage and producers cut the performance and head to commercial. It was a hugely embarrassing moment that only got worse when she returned to the stage and tried to blame the band. In the days that followed, Ashlee changed her story and said that she lost her voice because of acid reflux, and under doctor's orders, she was told to use a backup track. Unfortunately, this incident happened at what would be the height of her career, and she would never be able to live it down. The following January, she performed live at the halftime show for the Orange Bowl, and the camera picked up some loud boos from the crowd. Whether that was because they were genuinely angered by the performance or just hopping on what was then a fashionable Ashlee Simpson bashing same bandwagon, fans had unmistakably turned against her. Although her singing career continued for several years after that, she eventually faded from the spotlight for more than a decade. Number 3, Austin and Catherine McBroom. The Ace family is known as one of the biggest family vlog channels on YouTube, with 18.8 million subscribers. But Austin and Catherine McBroom are notorious for frequently being embroiled in controversy after controversy, which has completely destroyed their reputation on the platform. There was a time that they got caught staging a break-in to their home and even got their young daughter to react to the fake scenario, and they had a police officer on the scene, although that was a paid actor. They were also caught lying about the state of their multi-million-dollar home. In October last year, creditors foreclosed on their $10 million mansion after the couple amassed an $8.7 million debt. Not only that, but in June of 2018, Catherine and Austin were accused of scamming audiences to increase their subscriber numbers when they posted a video saying that they would give $100,000 to a subscriber of the Ace family who could complete a basketball challenge. That same month, they sent out a post saying that they selected 20 basketball players and YouTubers to compete. They ended up giving the money to a close friend of theirs who also happened to be a wealthy basketball player. And get this, he was not even an official competitor to begin with. So it's no surprise that they've lost so much of their audience over the years, because most of the scandals that befall them are often a direct result of their own dishonesty. Number 2, Hilaria Baldwin. The former yoga instructor and wife of Alec Baldwin found herself in a scandal of epic proportions when it was reported that she'd been faking her accent and allegedly her entire heritage. It all started when comedian Amy Schumer made a joke on Instagram, posting a postpartum photo of Hilaria holding her 3-month-old baby while wearing lingerie. She was making light of the fact that Hilaria looked like a Sports Illustrated model just months after giving birth to her 5th child. Then she got upset and went on Instagram Live in response, calling for body inclusivity and saying that the movement also needs to include women who look like her. But in the heat of the moment during the 4-minute video, Hilaria forgot to speak in the Spanish accent that she's been putting on for close to a decade. This resulted in a massive internet investigation where people found out that she is in fact not from Spain, as she's claimed multiple times in the past, but she was actually born in Boston, USA. Oh, and her name isn't Hilaria, it's Hillary. Fans also dug up a shocking clip of her on the Today Show, pretending not to know the English word for cucumber. Eventually, she started backpedaling like crazy and claimed that she first visited Spain when she was a baby, and her family returned at least once every year. But she declines to specify how much time she spent there altogether. So the only thing that we know for sure is that she's very clearly exaggerated the truth of just how Spanish she really is. And coming in at number 1, Steve Rannazzisi. In interviews, the comedian would often say that he survived the events of 9/11 and said that his near-death experience influenced his decision to get into the world of entertainment. He created his own backstory, saying that he worked for Merrill Lynch at the World Trade Center and was fortunate enough to escape the tragedy. Soon after that, he apparently moved to LA, got into stand-up, and became a cast member of the sitcom The League. He obviously claimed to have escaped the tragedy, but throughout the years, details about his 9/11 survival story seemed to change. He went from claiming that he was jostled all over the place while working in the South Tower when the first plane hit the North Tower, to backpedaling and claiming that he was outside the whole time, because he said that he was working downtown. At this point, he was gradually downplaying his whole story, but when an investigative report from the New York Times uncovered the truth, he finally owned up to it, saying, "I don't know why I said this. This was inexcusable. I am truly sorry." That same day the story came out, Steve tweeted his apology for letting the lies spiral out of control. He wrote, "For many years, more than anything, I have wished that with silence, I could somehow erase a story told by an immature young man. It only made me more ashamed." Weeks later, he went on Howard Stern and admitted to his mistake once again, saying that he just wanted to be accepted by other famous comedians when he first moved to LA. Although he apologized, he was never truly able to live down the scandal.
Coming in at number 10 is none other than the many inconsistencies of her story and how they've all lined up so far in the trial. More importantly, the timelines of the events themselves. Heard has pretty much been exposed on a regular basis now about the amount of times her stories just did not add up. One incident in particular came from her lawyer, Elaine Beat, during an opening statement where she mentions the makeup products Heard had to use constantly to cover up the marks and bruises of the alleged physical violence she claims to have suffered at the hands of Depp. Now, this is known to be a very common tactic in many DV relationships, except for the fact that in Heard's case, this was all seemingly a lie, because the company she had mentioned in court, Milani Cosmetics, stepped forward to inform the public that the exact product Heard claimed to have used as her scapegoat hadn't existed at the time of her making this statement originally, and was later released the following year. Although this could have merely been an innocent mistake on Heard and her legal team's end with a mix of a brand and products, this is still quite a messy puncture in her already leaky narrative thus far. Sliding into 9th spot for today is Heard's former allegations tied to her previous relationship before Depp with ex-girlfriend Tazia Van Ree. Now, this may come as a shock to many, but it has been noted by many sources that Heard was in fact physically violent towards Tazia during their relationship. This rocky situation took an even sharper turn when the police were called and Heard was later arrested following the incident. Although Heard was initially released on 2 years of probation, this did not stop her from going on to claim that the officer in question who dealt with her arrest was indeed quote-unquote and misogynistic, which had quickly later been debunked following the police officer's Facebook post clearing the air. It has since been made known that the officer is also a part of the LGBT community, as she identifies as a lesbian, turning Heard's former statement into nothing but yet another falsified point. If this still doesn't scream karma to you, I'm not quite sure what will. Our number 8 reason for today is on a bit of a lighter note than the previous ones, but nonetheless still just as mind-boggling, because Heard has been proven to contradict herself on even the smallest things, most recently on whether or not she was already a fan of Depp upon meeting and later falling in love with him. During one of her testimonies in court, Heard can be seen saying that she was quote-unquote didn't really know who he was, and I wasn't a fan of his work. But this is an entirely different statement than the one she had mentioned in a casual The Rum Diary interview later down the road, where she quote-unquote says, I mean, who isn't a fan of Johnny's? That's a given. Even later adding onto her former statement by saying, he's been a cultural icon and a talented actor for as long as I can remember. Now, I don't know about you all, but those two declarations seem very contradicting to each other in my personal opinion, and neither of the two have yet to be challenged as to which one is actually accurate. Moving on to reason number 7 is Heard and her temporary restraining order against Depp. This order was placed into motion only days after their file for divorce on Heard's end, where she had gone to a courthouse to seek the order against her then ex-husband due to an alleged major fight the two had engaged in a week prior to this incident. According to Heard, the cops were called to action and Depp wasn't allowed within 100 feet of her. But here's where things get a little shaky though, because words from the cops who were on the scene at the time had since admitted that there was no physical evidence of violence on Heard having taken place following the fight, despite Heard's original claims. It was later brought up that a shocking audio record came about shortly afterwards, basically breaking down Heard showing up to Depp's hotel room in San Francisco at the time, and quote-unquote begging Depp to talk and cuddle with her. It is also hinted that Heard had potentially pressed for further physical engagement, but in short, nothing of that has said to be particularly true. And our number 6 point for today is the Kate Moss, JD, and AH situation, where Heard admits to having hit Depp for the first time the same day she made it known she was afraid that Depp would have pushed her sister down the stairs. She went on to talk about the fear she felt over this situation on the stand. But things got a little weird when out of nowhere, Heard threw this wild allegation Depp's way by bringing Moss into the story, who was proven to be unhurt in the end. It has since been known that they would fight a lot, but that she was never physically injured or hurt in any way from this, and that Moss and Depp do remain as friends to this day. Coming in for top 5 at number 5 is the topic of Amber Heard's ACLU donation, or more like her not donation, because according to the ACLU, Heard had paid less than half of what she was originally promised to give them. But things get a little problematic because according to the company, due to Heard's financial struggles back then, Depp had to donate an additional $100,000, and another $500,000 was rumoredly given by Elon Musk, who she was alleged to be seeing after her breakup with Depp. Number 4 lies the cheating allegations against Heard with Elon Musk. Following my previous point, Heard admitted to quote-unquote filling in the space with Musk after her previous relationship with Depp. As the pre-recording deposition played on Wednesday, April 27th, Heard also claimed she wasn't in love with Musk after Depp's lawyers read their text exchange. Heard originally sparked these romance speculations amid her divorce with Depp, to which the businessman wasted no time in opening up his feelings of the young actress to the world. It only took the pair 5 months of being apart from one another for them to briefly rekindle the romance before calling it quits for good later that year. In third place for today's video, Amber and James Franco, moreover the suspicious of cheating on Heard's end while she was still with Depp. It is said that the incident took place in New York in May 2014 when Heard was filming The Adderall Diaries alongside Franco at the time. Things became entirely messy here when Heard had accused Depp of kicking her to the floor following his allegation against her and Franco, going so far as to say Depp quote-unquote hated James Franco. Moving on to the second place point for today is Kate James and her testimony that Amber is basically the worst. Her former assistant made claims that she was overall difficult to work with and filled with rage on a regular basis. James had gone on to say that although she has no evidence of having ever seen Heard get physical with Depp, she was a victim to Heard's angry outbursts and blind fits of rage on several occasions. According to James, Heard once allegedly spit in her face after she had asked the actress for a raise. Following the statement, Heard was also accused of sending incoherent text messages as early as 2 a.m. in the morning. When asked about Depp, on the other hand, James really only had positive things to say, noting that he is a typically calm and shy dude, like a quote-unquote total southern gentleman she proceeded to finalize. And finally, the number one reason why practically the entire internet is hashtag Team Johnny is the shocking audio confession from early last year, where Heard admits to having hit Depp after explicitly saying she did not. Now this comes following the former couple trying to work through their marital issues back in 2015. Still, this issue has now been proven to be true, given the hard evidence shaped in the form of the seemingly explosive audio confession mentioned earlier. If Amber has lied about all these 10 things today, who's to say she hasn't been lying about so much more?
Coming at number 10, the tissue. In a seemingly innocuous moment during the defamation trial of Johnny Depp, Amber appeared to wipe her nose with a tissue. However, fans around the world swear that she is not blowing her nose into the tissue, but rather sniffing something tucked inside instead. As such, wild assumptions and theories began running amok on social media, and the video quickly went viral. In a tweet, one user shared the video clip and captioned it with, "Yo, I've done some ish in my day, but I've never had the stones to do in a courtroom." However, as many people have pointed out already, it's not probable that she was doing this. Security would be patting down every single person going to that courtroom, and on top of that, there are very harsh penalties for consuming or carrying illegal substances in a courthouse. I really doubt Amber's team would be okay trying to help her conceal that. What's a more plausible answer though is that she was sniffing a kind of Vicks vapor rub to help her eyes tear up more during her testimony. This would then in turn make it look like she was crying and therefore help convince the jury that she means what she says. But before we jump into our next point, make sure you tap that like button to show some love to the channel. In at number 9, the flinch. After Amber Heard finished with her testimony the other day, there was a bizarre moment when everyone was leaving the courtroom. Amber appeared to actually flinch or recoil as she came somewhat close to Johnny Depp while leaving, even though there were a ton of people standing in between them. In fact, he wasn't very close at all, but because he walked somewhat in her direction, she flinched like a soccer player trying to draw a penalty. It was A1 acting, if you ask me. Perfectly timed given the weight of her harrowing testimony. The actress told the Virginia courthouse that her ex-husband had S8'd her with a liquor bottle and then threatened to end her life in March of 2015 while they were in Australia. As they were leaving, Depp, who as you know is partially blind in one eye, stood up and simply moved in the same direction as the Aquaman star, which is when Heard seemed to physically shudder and look terrified, even taking a step back as courtroom officials immediately turned towards Depp and put their hands up as if to warn him to stay back. Johnny Depp then turned away and appeared to shrug and smile as if he had no idea why they were all in a huff. In at number 8, objection. Some of the most popular words during the Amber Heard versus Johnny Depp trial have been objection or hearsay, and in a bizarre moment all caught on camera, Amber Heard's lawyer completely misses the mark. As he was cross-examining Ben King, Heard's attorney Benjamin Rottenborn got a little too flustered. At first his question was objected to, and then the judge sustained the objection. He then tried to ask the question again, but when Mr. King started to answer, he randomly says, objection, hearsay, to his own question. And although it's not Amber Heard doing something weird, it still has to be mentioned on this list. The fact that it was her own attorneys doing this really highlighted how unprepared they were for this trial, at least mentally. In at number 7, do you know the Muffin Man? In another strange case of cross-examination gone wrong, one of Amber Heard's lawyers, Elaine Bredhoff, kept questioning psychologist Dr. Shannon Curry in the most bizarre way. She was absolutely fixated on the muffins that Dr. Curry says that she brought for Miss Heard. There was a lot of grasping for straws during this questioning. She attempted to involve Dr. Curry's husband in all this to prove that she had leaked sensitive information to him. She tried to suggest that Dr. Curry had drinks and dinner with Mr. Depp to prove that there was some sort of bias there, and then she kept focusing on these muffins that she gave to Miss Heard. Dr. Curry explained that she frequently brings muffins into her office. On the day that Amber Heard came in, her husband was aware that she was meeting with a celebrity, and so she asked him to pick up the muffins for her. He brought them back to their home, and then Dr. Curry brought them into the office like she always does. She then clarified that she said to Miss Heard that her husband had purchased the muffins for today, but didn't do so as some sort of special present for Amber, like her attorney was attempting to suggest. Needless to say, her constant questions about the muffins led to countless memes involving the gingerbread man from Shrek. Coming number 6, similar styles. Clinical psychologist Dr. Shannon Curry also gave a possible explanation as to why Amber Heard chose to dress just like her ex-husband during their trial, and it's most likely due to her suffering from borderline personality disorder, or BPD for short. Dr. Curry was also called to the stand and explained that people with BPD will often have identity issues which typically result in people dressing like the people they want to be around. Dr. Curry explained to the jury, they take on the personality of the people they want to be around, the way they dress, interests, the way they talk. On the first day of the trial, for example, Depp was seen wearing a Gucci tie with a bumblebee on it, and then just 2 days later, Amber was spotted wearing a very similar tie which also had a bee on it. Social media users also pointed out that Depp donned a gray suit for the first day of the trial, and then Amber could be also seen wearing a pants and shirt combo of the same color to the courthouse on April 12th. Not convinced? Well, on April 18th, Depp showed up to court with his long hair pulled back into a ponytail, and then the following day, Amber had her hair done in a very similar way. In another example, Depp wore glasses during many days of the trial, and Amber Heard was also seen using a similar pair. Coming number 5, stolen movie lines. Okay, Twitter is convinced that Amber Heard had quoted multiple movies during her testimony. In a Twitter thread posted on May 5th, 2022, the Twitter user claimed that Heard had stolen from film, television, and books for her defense. A Twitter user posted these screenshots of the comparison and said, if you were watching Amber Heard and felt like some of those lines felt strangely familiar, they are. She's stealing from film and TV and books. Here's a thread of what I have seen so far. And so far, the tweet has been retweeted more than 4,000 times and liked by over 14,000 people. Among the evidence she presented, the Twitter user claimed that the quote from the actress of Drinks Lots of Tea was stolen by Julia Roberts' character in Notting Hill. Another part of her testimony, she said he'd rather cut off his hand, which she claimed was directly lifted from the drama series Mildred Pierce. Perhaps the one that took off the most though in all of this was the screenshot within the thread where the user claimed that Amber's opening monologue in her testimony is the plot of The Talented Mr. Ripley. In that post, the user claims, her entire beginning monologue is literally the plot of The Talented Mr. Ripley, actual quotes from the movie, and featured a character who showered gifts then mysteriously disappeared. The thing with Johnny, it's like the sun shines on you and it's glorious, and then he forgets you and it's very, very cold. When you have his attention, you feel like you're the only person in the world. That's why everybody loves him so much. Coming number 4, the bottle. In this brief footage that was captured and plastered all over TikTok, Amber Heard can be seen tightening a bottle and then placing it awkwardly into her pocket right as a courtroom official almost catches her. This video sparked mass speculation that she was trying to sneak booze into the courtroom. One user who tweeted the video captioned it with, is Amber Heard drinking alcohol in the courtroom and hiding it from the sheriff? Who takes a cap off and puts it back in their pocket so fast? The speculation about her drinking in court came after authorities reportedly banned the use of bottled drinks inside of the courtroom. Law and Crime host Jesse Weber made the announcement and said, we were just informed we will no longer be allowed to bring bottled drinks in court. The last time we were given this instruction was when Johnny Depp first took the stand. Coming number 3, crocodile tears. Depp's fans have been flooding social media accusing her of being a bad actress and fake crying, following her testimony at their blockbuster defamation trial. She spent 2 days detailing Depp's alleged attacks, saying her former spouse slapped her across the face and conducted a cavity search to find illegal substances that he believed she was hiding from him. However, Depp's supporters have slammed the actress on Twitter and TikTok, claiming that she was faking her testimony because she failed to produce a single tear. Andy Signor even tweeted, oh my god, I'm dying. Amber Heard is the worst actor ever. This fake incoherent performance is sickening. All over the place. Too many details, fake sighs, forced tears, and looks to the jury. This is an embarrassment to survivors everywhere. With poet Joseph Massey adding, I watched a little of the Amber Heard testimony today. How does someone cry without tears? Is it a medical condition? Whenever I cry or see someone else crying, it's a real mess that requires multiple tissues if not a small mop. Coming number 2, caught smirking. Amber Heard has failed to present any actual evidence that proves Johnny was attacking her, but the actor has presented plenty of evidence that she was horrible to him. In a set of tapes recorded by Johnny, Depp is asking Amber Heard about a time in which she hurt him with a door and proceeded to punch him straight in the face. She apologized for hitting him with a door, but she is on record saying that she meant to actually clock him in the face. There's a video of her deposition in which she is listening to the tape. In the recorded exchange, you can see a confused Johnny while trying to ask Amber what she was apologizing for. Initially, she says she is sorry for punching him, but then she clarifies that she's only sorry about the door. She then goes on to say that she meant to punch him in the face after Johnny described the entire scenario of how things happened. Throughout the whole time that she was listening, there was a clear grin on her face as if she was almost enjoying enjoying it when she recalled that moment. And last but certainly not least, on our number one spot, Amber's admission of guilt. In April of last year, Johnny Depp had filed a defamation lawsuit against Amber Heard for $50 million after she wrote an opinion piece for the Washington Post about the duress that she was suffering from just being with him. As a result, Depp was fired from his role as Captain Jack Sparrow in the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise, and his reputation in Hollywood was severely tarnished. However, Depp's lawyers received a bombshell of an audio confession where Heard admits to hitting Johnny. In the audio, she says, "I'm sorry that I didn't hit you across the face in a proper slap, but I was hitting you. It was not punching you. Babe, you're not punched." Later adding, "I don't know what the motion of my actual hand was, but you're fine. I did not hurt you. I did not punch you. I was hitting you."
A longtime friend of Johnny Depp, Gina Duders, has a spicy perspective about how Amber Heard actually found joy in the altercations between the couple. Ooh, drama. Let's talk about it. So basically, Gina Duders, wife of Stephen Duders, who has been a longtime business partner of Johnny for decades, spoke on the whole debacle in an interview with Page Six. In that interview, she said, "I think there is a part of Amber that believes fighting is passion. It means there's sparks, fireworks in the relationship. Amber is someone who is always used to getting what she wants. She is quite entitled, and I think she made big demands in their divorce. When Amber was denied those demands, I feel she was like, I'm not gonna get what I want, so I'm gonna destroy you." She also called her, and I quote, "a sociopathic show pony," which I'm going to start using in arguments from now on. For a marriage that lasted 15 months, it somehow just gets worse and worse. If only a statement like that could offer some kind of help to Johnny and his legal team. With Amber back on the stand for her cross-examination this week, we are back in the action to witness Amber being put on the spot. It'll be interesting to see if she gets caught in a lie. She's also apparently expected to talk about her past, aggressive relationship with ex-girlfriend Tasia Van Ree. I'm just really hoping we don't have to all awkwardly sit here again through the payoff of all those acting classes. I'm kidding. Hey, maybe there's some truth to what she said. Maybe there's some truth to what she says through those tears. Maybe her dog really did step on a bee, I don't know.
Starting off at number 10, we have Drake Bell and Josh Peck. This one was the scandal that ruined childhoods, and tons of hearts were broken when people realized that Drake and Josh might not actually be friends in real life. But the situation between them was so bad that Drake Bell didn't even realize that his friendship with Josh Peck was on the rocks. The feud ignited in 2017 when Josh Peck posted tons of photos online of his wedding to Paige O'Brien, and Bell responded on Twitter, making it pretty clear that he was salty for not getting an invite. In tons of deleted videos, Bell wrote, "When you're not invited to the wedding, the message is clear," and "True colors have come out today," and "Message is loud and clear, ties officially cut. I'll miss you, brother, and loyalty is key. Always remember where you came from." So yikes, it's pretty damn clear who he was talking about with all those tweets. But then later on, when asked about it, Josh Peck said that he was really hurt by the tweets, but that he was shocked because apparently Drake didn't even text Josh back to congratulate him on his engagement. So clearly both sides were a little shady here.
Number 9, Amber Heard and Kate James. Amber Heard's former friend and assistant Kate James exposed her for her abusive tendencies. During the libel case between Johnny Depp and The Sun publication, we saw testimonies from several people who were close to the couple, but none came close to that of Amber's ex-assistant Kate James. Kate went on record and said that she was mentally and verbally abused by Amber during the time that she worked with her between 2012 and 2015. She also went on to disclose how the beginning of Amber and Johnny's relationship went, saying that Amber would, quote, speak in disparaging terms about him and would say things like she was, quote, dating this old man. Kate also went on to expose how Amber would copy Johnny's lifestyle. She commented on the fact that upon beginning their relationship, Amber would start behaving weirdly in comparison to her true personality. She also went on to say that Amber, quote, went through an odd change that almost morphed her into a different version of Depp. Kate really exposed Amber for who she was behind the scenes, being that she spent so much time together. She didn't hold back, especially after being betrayed by her, when Amber retold a traumatic story from Kate's life and pawned it off as if it was her own.
In at number 8, Jay-Z and Kanye West. This falling out was not only very messy, but it was very public. And there was so much to it that Channel 4 actually made a whole documentary about it. The two were friends for years, until Kim Kardashian's Paris robbery, and Kanye felt that Jay-Z abandoned him after the incident. The feud was brought to light while Kanye was on stage at one of his shows, saying over the mic, "Don't call me after the robbery and say how you feeling. You want to know how I'm feeling? Come by the house. Bring the kids by the house. Like we're brothers. Let's sit down." with the audience knowing that he was talking about Jay-Z. As a clap back to that call out, Jay-Z addressed it on his last album, sang in a song, "I know people backstab you, I feel bad too, but this F everybody attitude ain't natural, but you ain't the same. This ain't kumbaya. F wrong with everybody, is what you saying, but if everybody's crazy, you're the one that's insane." So clearly these two don't look like they're going to be reconciling anytime soon. Also guys, if you're liking the video so far, make sure to give it a big like below, that really helps us out.
At number 7, the Kardashians and Larsa Pippen. Though Larsa Pippen and the Kardashians, especially Kim, were really close, it seems like their relationship is very different now. Some fans have noticed that the Kardashian clan had unfollowed Larsa on social media, and Larsa did the same in return, and some are wondering why this is. Well, Larsa dished about the situation during an interview on the Hollywood Raw podcast. She spoke out saying that she and Kim have a very different relationship now and exposed some of the family's drama she's been a part of. Larsa said that Kanye has been a huge part of why she and Kim are no longer friends, saying that he brainwashed the family into turning against her after she tried establishing boundaries in their relationship. She also exposed Khloe Kardashian for allegedly stealing Tristan away from her, saying that she was, quote, kind of seeing Tristan before Khloe, and that she had introduced him to the Kardashian family, and about a week later, Khloe and Tristan were together. For now, the Kardashians have separated themselves from Larsa, and it's probably gonna stay that way because you know how the Kardashians hold grudges.
In at number 6, Gwyneth Paltrow and Winona Ryder. These two were once really good friends, and they were seen out tons of times and even lived together at one point. But everything ended because of one man named William. Apparently both of the ladies auditioned for the lead role in Shakespeare in Love, but Paltrow ended up snagging the role and then even went on to win Best Actress at the Oscars for the role. So clearly a real gut punch. Then years later, when Winona was going through some rough times and she was busted for shoplifting, Gwyneth took a dig at her, writing in a newsletter, "Back in the day, I had a friend of me who was pretty hell-bent on taking me down. I restrained myself from fighting back. I tried to take the high road. But one day I heard that something unfortunate and humiliating had happened to this person. My reaction was deep relief and happiness." So yikes, clearly these two just straight up hate each other.
At number 5, Taylor Swift and Kim K. So back in 2016, there was some beef between Taylor Swift and Kim Ye. Basically, Taylor said that she was really upset about some lyrics that Kanye had included in one of the songs he had released at that time. She told fans that she had never heard those lyrics and that she never approved of them, but Kim sensed something a little fishy about Taylor. The singer and the Kardashian West had only just reconciled after their whole VMA debacle, but it seems like their friendship wasn't built to last since Kim decided to expose Taylor for lying about the lyrics. Kim shared a video that she secretly recorded of Kanye on the phone with Taylor, sharing lyrics to his song, and when he involved her name in them, she said that it was a compliment and that she approved, even calling him a friend for sharing. Kim doesn't always get involved in Kanye's drama, but when she has receipts, you know she's gonna share them. On top of that, Taylor obviously had to make a song about their friendship breakup and dished about the situation, so I guess in a way, they both betrayed each other.
In at number 4, Heidi Montag and Lauren Conrad. Heidi and Lauren were reality TV royalty back in the early 2000s when they starred in the hit show The Hills. But in 2007, the friendship ended when Heidi Montag and her boyfriend Spencer spread a rumor that Conrad made an explicit tape with her boyfriend Jason. After the rumor was spreading like wildfire, Conrad commented on her website, writing, "We didn't make a tape. Jason and I are both shocked and hurt that people would say such horrible things about us. I can't believe that somebody would go to such great lengths to try and damage my reputation." The situation got worse when Conrad still had to shoot season 3 of The Hills, and that season is when the fight came to a head, and there was an epic on-camera fight. And even to this day, the fight is a sore spot for everyone involved.
At number 3, Paris Hilton and Nicole Richie. Paris Hilton and Nicole Richie were the best of friends at one point, practically inseparable, but things changed when Nicole decided to allegedly expose Paris and play her adult film at one of her parties. Their friendship pretty much crashed and burned at that point, leaving the two of them at odds. While this incident was only speculation and rumors, and it was never confirmed by either party, this betrayal seems to be the reigning theory as to what happened between them and why they had such a big falling out. The only time Paris really spoke out about her breakup with her bestie was during an interview where she said, quote, "It's no big secret that Nicole and I are no longer friends. Nicole knows what she did, and that's all I'm ever going to say about it," end quote.
And number 2, Kim Cattrall and Sarah Jessica Parker. When Sex and the City was in its heyday, everyone just pretty much assumed that the leading ladies were all best friends. But we found out later that that definitely was not the case. After the third movie was taken off the table because of Cattrall's refusal to do the film, is when the truth of the matter started to show. But the feud came to a head after Cattrall's brother passed away, and Sarah Jessica Parker wrote a message of condolence to her former colleague on social media. But Cattrall was not having it and clapped back to the message by writing, Your continuous reaching out is a painful reminder of how cruel you really were then and now. Let me make this very clear. You are not my friend. So I'm writing to tell you one last time to stop exploiting our tragedy in order to restore your nice girl persona. Which makes it clear that there was a lot of built up tension between them. Cottrell has addressed the fight numerous times, saying that the mean girl culture of the show is what actually destroyed it.
Finally, at number 1, James Charles and Tati Westbrook. James and Tati's falling out is probably one of the best examples of someone being exposed by their friend. This whole bi-sister scandal saw their relationship torn apart in a matter of one video. James and Tati famously had a relationship dating all the way back to the beginning of James's career, but Tati suddenly decided to cut ties with him after he posted at Coachella endorsing Sugar Bear Hair, the competitor to Tati's vitamin company. She exposed him for his endorsement, and she could have stopped there, but she decided to also expose him for his alleged misconduct with other people, specifically straight men. She claimed that James was trying to, quote, manipulate someone's sexuality, and she referenced a specific incident that went down in 2019 at her birthday party. Though James thought of Tati as some kind of parental figure, she still decided to publicly cut ties with James, thus beginning the whole Dramageddon fiasco.
In at number 10, we have Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie. Former bodyguard of Brad and Angelina, Mark Billingham, said in an interview with a UK tabloid, I quote, once it was Angie's birthday and they were all sitting in an Audi Q7. He hadn't been working with them long and suddenly Brad has the doors locked and farted, so they couldn't get out. That's weird. At least make sure the doors are unlocked before you rip one. Damn. Like, was that like on purpose? I'm confused. I have questions. I have a lot of questions about this part. Mark went on to say that Brad and Angelina were pretty naive when it came to their personal security. He said, what surprised me was their low level of common sense. I found it crazy when they would ask me questions like, how do I go down to that bar? And what do I need to get there? Does being a celebrity just mean they like need advice on how to wipe their ass? Well, Brad and Angelina, you walk. You do this thing, you lift up your feet, and you walk. Have you ever heard of it? Probably not. Probably get driven around in an Audi Q7 everywhere you go. Mark eventually quit after 18 months because the job was too high pressure. In at number 9, we have Justin Bieber. Justin Bieber's former bodyguard, Mosh Benabu, I hope I'm saying that correctly, filed a complaint against him in LA after Bieber physically assaulted him. He claimed that Justin went on a tirade against him that was triggered by what Justin perceived as an attempt to keep one member of Bieber's entourage physically away from Justin Bieber. Bieber then punched Benabu in the chest and upper body. But rather than fight back, he did nothing. Justin's former bodyguard also sued Justin for unpaid overtime, vacation wages, expenses, and failure to pay wages due immediately on termination. At number 8 on our list, we got Mr. Eminem. Byron Williams wrote a memoir in 2000 called Shady Business: Life as Eminem's Bodyguard in an Industry of Paper Gangsters. Williams said that the book documented various moments about his time working for Eminem, including a scary encounter with Suge Knight, who allegedly sent henchmen to threaten Eminem. He said in a 2016 interview with Vibe, when I wrote the book, it was never my intention to attack Eminem, but we had a falling out financially and I decided to write the book to recoup some of the money that I lost. AV Club said about the book that it was a pathetic portrayal of Eminem as an irresponsible, deeply unhappy man-child who relies on his bodyguard slash self-styled mentor slash babysitter slash conscience slash better half slash life coach for everything. What a review. The two are still reportedly not on good terms. During their last interaction, they both had their hands on their weapons. At number 7, we have Britney Spears. I feel like she's on every single celebrity expose list that I've ever done. I swear, it's not on purpose, there's only so many celebrity bodyguard stories, so. Fernando Flores was Britney Spears' former bodyguard, and back in 2010 he filed a lawsuit against her, where he claimed that she sexually harassed him and made unwanted advances. Like, I get that it's nice to feel protected and stuff, but it's still harassment in the workplace to make passes at your bodyguard. Flores said that Britney exposed herself quite a few times. Now, Britney alleged that she never did any of this, and her former bodyguard was only trying to take advantage of her to make a name for himself, or so she says. They settled out of court 2 years later for an undisclosed amount. At number 6, we have Kanye West. Steve Stanulis is an ex-NYPD officer who's protected celebrities like Leonardo DiCaprio, and he was also the bodyguard of Kanye West and Kim Kardashian. But he was fired back in 2016 because Kanye accused him of making a move on Kim. Stanulis told the Daily Mail that he never made a move on Kim, and Kanye needs to, quote, chill the f*** out. I mean, that's fair. He does need to chill the out. Stiuso didn't really have that many good things to say about Kanye, who was allegedly particularly difficult to work for. He described the entire experience as being forgettable, traumatic, not worth it, and disappointed. Stiuso said Kanye would have temper tantrums all the time, and he would seldom offer his staff a glass of water. Stiuso also said that Kanye wouldn't let him wear anything other than black because, quote, patterns distract him. In at number 5, Elton John. Yet another bodyguard on this list who claims the star they protected sexually harassed them. Back in 2016, Jeffrey Weninger sued Elton John for sexually harassing him while he worked for him. According to the lawsuit, between 2002 and 2014, Elton John, quote, inappropriately touched Jeffrey on multiple occasions and made sexually suggestive comments. Sexually suggestive comments like, get your todger out and say hello to Uncle Elton. You said it exactly like that, okay? My British accent is impeccable. Weninger alleges that the incidents got more frequent and more intense after 2010. Elton, of course, denied all of this, and the case ended up being dismissed. Weninger received no financial compensation or settlement. In at number 4, we have Morrissey. Frontman of the Smiths, Morrissey was sued by his former bodyguard Bradley Stain, who claimed that Morrissey and his manager asked him to harm a man who ran a Morrissey fan website, morrissey-solo.com. The guy that ran the website was a guy named David Singh, and Morrissey gave Stain his address and wanted him to hurt him. When Stain refused, he was fired. Stain sought over £155,000 in compensation, damages, and legal costs. Morrissey denied all of this and called it a lie. He said in a statement, "The very idea that I would ask a complete stranger to physically attack David Singh surely cannot register with any sane person as being likely." He went on, "As mildly irritating as David Singh may be, he is not someone who troubles me enough to even bother with." In at number 3, we've got David Bowie. I love me some David Bowie, but being a rock star means you probably got a few secrets when it comes to romantic relationships. Or encounters. According to former Bowie bodyguard Stuart George, who worked for him for almost 14 years, he once had to guard the door while David Bowie had a menage a trois with Mick Jagger from the Rolling Stones and a famous British female singer that he did not disclose. This was back in the 1970s, so like, people were pretty like free-spirited and like bisexual. Doesn't really surprise me a lot. They wanted to experiment, guys. The threesome supposedly happened in a walk-in closet filled with Bowie's costumes, and that's when Bowie told his bodyguard to wait outside and make sure they weren't interrupted. I wonder if they like wore all the costumes. I have such a funny image in my head. In the number 2, we got Elvis. 3 of Elvis's former bodyguards worked together to write a book about the King of Rock, called Elvis: What Happened. Sonny West, David Helber, and Red West claim various things in the book. Elvis, quote, charmed a beautiful young fan into joining him on a drug binge for 2 that almost killed her. He also allegedly took a group of friends on a 3 a.m. visit to a mortuary to look at corpses and talk about embalming. Cause that's not weird. Elvis also admitted to one of these former bodyguards that he sent out a hit on a man that he felt stole his wife. The book, Elvis: What Happened, ended up being published 4 days before Elvis died in 1977. So that's awkward. And at number 1 on our list, Michael Jackson. Now this one was crazy, maybe you remember it. Back in 2010, Michael Jackson's former bodyguard Matt Feuds claimed that he was the real father of Michael Jackson's son Blanket. Feuds said he donated sperm to Michael back in 2001 because Michael wanted to have an athletic child. Matt was a martial arts expert. He said to the Daily Mail, Jackson said he wanted a fit, athletic son. He offered me £500,000, but I said no. I was already a multimillionaire and I didn't need the money or want to take his. In 2009, a mutual friend saw a picture of Blanket in a magazine and rang me straight away, and he said, what have you done? You've donated sperm to Michael. He saw the likeness straight away. So just so you know, to date, there's been no test to prove that Feuds is Blanket's biological father. But that wasn't all Matt Feuds had to say about Michael Jackson. He made further claims in 2012 that Jackson had a secret affair with Whitney Houston that Jackson never got over. He also said that Michael Jackson was unable to have children because of his excessive drug use. He was also anorexic, and Jackson was convinced he would be assassinated. In at number 10, we have Charlize Theron. Charlize Theron is known to be one of the most difficult actresses to work with in Hollywood, but I never knew how difficult until I read what her housekeepers had to say about her. Charlize reportedly wants minimal contact with her staff. She won't let them speak to her or make eye contact with her. So how does she tell them what she wants done if she doesn't want to talk to them? Notes. She leaves notes around the house and her staff leave notes in response for her to read. Maybe that's a good thing. I don't know if I would want to talk to someone like that either. And at number 9, Britney Spears. Back in 2010, Britney Spears' housekeeper revealed that there's leftovers all over her room. Britney stores half-eaten burgers under her bed and between her sheets. Cookies in her couch were found and fries were found under her mattress. But like, Why though?
Why?
Why under the bed? Does she plan to eat it later? She's like burying it like a squirrel? I'm confused. There's dust bunnies and monsters under the bed. Maybe Brittany loves to eat a burger every now and again and she feels guilty about eating the whole thing, so she like hides it? Who knows? In at 8 we have Jennifer Lopez. J-Lo has been dubbed Pay-Lo by her housekeepers because she reportedly pays half of the amount other celebrities in her area pay. And this claim is actually backed up by a lawsuit where Mark Anthony and Jennifer Lopez's former housekeeper claimed she was owed $500,000 in back wages. She claimed she worked every single day of the week, up to 80 hours, and did not receive overtime. Her employment was terminated in 2017. They settled out of court, but no one knows for how much. In at number 7, we have Mr. George Clooney. I love me some George Clooney. Oh, he cute. He's definitely high up on the list of sexiest men in Hollywood for me. But did you know that George Clooney is a bit of a prankster, and unfortunately his housekeeper was on the receiving end of one of his disgusting pranks. I can't even believe I'm about to tell you about this, but anyways. Okay, so he was shooting a TV show in Italy and he got a fresh new diaper and he put some Nutella in it, and then he threw it in the trash can. He came back an hour later and the Italian housekeeper was there. He reportedly said, Amal wants to know if Alexander did poo-poo or pee-pee. He opened up the trash, got the diaper he'd left there earlier, rubbed it in his face, and ate it. The housekeeper screamed and ran out of the room, probably saying, Mamma mia! He also reportedly burps and farts openly and loudly in front of his staff. At number 6 we have Taylor Swift. Okay, so you probably already knew this already, but Taylor Swift is cat crazy. Like literally cat crazy. In addition to being completely in love with her cats, Olivia Benson and Meredith Grey, her house is filled with photos of her cats, paintings of her cats, cats memorabilia, and her wardrobe of clothes that she wears at home is just like covered in cats. They say that women who keep a lot of cats and cat stuff around are born to be spinsters. I guess we'll see. Oh yeah, and she played a cat. Taylor also gets her staff to leave food out for strays every day. She loves cats. I don't trust cats. In at number 5 we have Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise reportedly likes his house to be run like a luxury hotel. He wants his sheets changed every single day so that he only sleeps on fresh ones. That's fair. I like fresh sheets. I like to smell them. Tom is obsessed with cleanliness and organization. This rumor was backed up by director Doug Lamont, who lived with Tom during the filming of American Made. Tom created a chore chart to make sure everyone did their part. I hate roommates that do that. Just clean it! Oh my god.
You didn't fill in your chore chart. I see here that you're missing a couple things.
There was also a communal bathroom that Tom controlled and you had to aim properly. No pee stains allowed. Tom is a very private person, even with people who are closest to him. There are rooms in his mansion that no one is allowed to enter, including his now ex-wife Katie Holmes. I mean, she was not allowed when they were together, that's what I mean. Like obviously she's his ex-wife, so she's not allowed in his house, but like, you know, you get it, it's fine. At number 4 we have Jessica Simpson. Okay, so little birdie told me that Jessica Simpson has rank breath because she only brushes her teeth 3 times a week. Every other time in between she wipes her teeth with a rag or a piece of cloth. I'm so grossed out, like this is so gross. So like, I can just picture like, I can't go longer than a day without brushing my teeth, and that's like if I really am just so busy and I didn't have time. Don't you find that your teeth get like fuzzy from all the food you've eaten? I hate that feeling. At least chew some gum, Jessica. God. Jessica actually admitted to this rumor on The Ellen Show, and she said she doesn't like it when her teeth feel slippery. At number 3 we have Miley Cyrus. It's no secret that Miley loves animals. She takes in a lot of animals and definitely sets a good example to many people who should be adopting animals from shelters. She has 7 dogs, 2 pigs, 2 horses, and 3 cats. 15 pets in total. Essentially, Miley's house is like a petting zoo. The problem is, because Miley is extremely busy being famous and jet setting across the world, she doesn't have time to potty train her pets, which means her pets pee-pee and poo-poo all over the place. According to her housekeeper, it is not fun to clean up. Yeah, no pun intended. At number 2 we have Alicia Silverstone. There was a rumor, which is now confirmed, that Alicia Silverstone is a fan of kiss feeding. And if you don't know what kiss feeding is, it's where you feed your children the way birds feed their chicks. Out of your own mouth. There's even a video of Alicia Silverstone doing this on YouTube. There are a couple reasons why some parents do this. It's supposed to help with immunity. This is also how many people feed their babies where there isn't baby food available. You chew it up so the food isn't solid and your baby doesn't choke on it. But Alicia Silverstone lives a relatively privileged life, which means she probably lives somewhere where they have Gerber at a supermarket. Just saying. Here you go, baby. At number 1 we have Kesha. Kesha has got some pretty disturbing habits, including a habit that she claims helps her lose weight and get into shape. Former staff members have revealed that she drank her own bodily fluids so she could get into shape for her Die Young music video. Kesha said she heard about it from a friend. Honestly, get rid of that friend, Kesha. They are not your friend. They told you drinking pee would get you into shape. That is not a friend! Of course, not only is this disgusting, it's incorrect and will make you sick, so she had to be corrected. Kesha actually drank her own urine on TV, on the MTV special Kesha My Crazy Beautiful Life. She reportedly stopped drinking her own urine after she was advised against it. Well, that's good. I'm happy for you, Kesha.